in this video, I am finally going to be getting rid of the radius arms and 3-linking the blazer. First thing I'm going to get done is, well, get the axle out. So when I did the axles for Robbie, I built these jack stands to hold the axle. So I already got that made, so I just got to pull the axle out, get it onto these jack stands, and start cutting off all of the casting. I'll show you guys what's going to need to get cut off and how I'm going to go about doing it. Kind of redo the front and make it way better. So I should be able to get a lot more flex out of the front. Should match the back a little bit better and give me a lot more ground clearance. So multiple benefits of it, and these bushings are terrible. So as you can see, that radius arm mount hangs down super low. Keep hitting it on rocks. I won't have that hanging down anymore. Also over here, I'll gain a little bit of ground clearance by the differential as well. So yeah, get the axle pulled out and then show you guys my plan. Alright, so I got the axle out, as you can see, and I'm just going to start going through it and plasma cutting off all the easy stuff, like this. All of this can just be plasma cut off because it's just metal. These I'm going to cut off and build new ones, or get new ones of those. And like this here, some of this stuff back here. Start cutting all that stuff off. This is the hardest part for sure. But I'm going to get the bulk of this stuff off with the plasma cutter. Make it a little bit easier to get everything and get it shaved down. Alright, so there's the project, the progress I've made on day one. Axle's out, this side's basically all plasma cut off. Got a couple more things, but most of that's going to be grinder work. So, but it's getting late, so we'll get back at it tomorrow. Alright, so it's a new day. Doesn't look like it, but did take a shower, and I just threw on the same clothes because, well, new shirt, jacket and pants are the same because she's gonna get dirty again. But I did learn my lesson, and I went to the store and I bought a box of 50 dust masks. So after blowing black snot, I got some dust masks. So probably should have done that a long time ago, but got some now. So I'm going to completely finish up this side. I'm going to get it all ground down. There's a couple more pieces like this that I'm going to plasma cut off and trim it down a little bit with the plasma cutter, and then take the grinder to it and then flap wheel it, get this side all looking nice, and then we'll tackle this side. This side's the fun side. Alright, there it is. Threw a coat of paint on the stuff that don't need to weld to. Axle's all cleaned up, welded it on both ends there. So now I'm just waiting for all the stuff from Barnes to show up. Alright, so I'm super excited to tell you guys about my latest partnership deal I've made. This one's cool. So when I was going to 3-link this, knew there was one company I wanted to go to, and that's Barnes 4-wheel drive. I've used their stuff a ton building this Blazer, and I've always been super impressed by it. So on this front axle I'm doing, I reached out to them and they gave me a huge discount. So thank you guys so much for supporting me, and I'll get this stuff installed, and then you guys will see how well this stuff actually performs. And I am super excited for this. I went a little over budget, but I did get a discount, so the wife's not going to kill me quite yet, but I am so excited to get this done. So I'm going to start going. I'm going to get the truss all tacked together and placed on top. Get the truss installed first, and then I'll get the axle positioned under the Blazer and start tacking in the link brackets and getting the links ready to go in, and yeah, should be pretty simple. So I'm going to start kind of organizing stuff and getting it ready to be put into place. So I got the truss sitting where it's going to go. I'm going to start tacking it together and then weld it in 3 parts. So I'm going to weld the truss together, then I'm going to wait for it to cool down, weld it to the axle tube, wait for it to cool down, and then weld it to the cast. So I'm going to be doing all the welding with this Art Captain MiG 200. This has been an awesome welder. So I'm going to use it to do this because I've been really enjoying using it. Alright, so I just finished up getting the truss all welded up. If you guys want to see a more in-depth video on how to do that, I'll leave a link to the previous set of 1-tons I did. I went into a lot more detail on those. So, but as you can see, welds look beautiful. I'm loving this welder so far. But now I'm going to get this underneath the Blazer so I can start doing all of that stuff. So I got the springs off of the coils, off of the coilovers, so I can bolt them on, and once I get everything tacked into place I can cycle it, make sure everything's gonna clear before I put the springs on. So it's very heavy, so I'm gonna use the cherry picker to pick it up and bring it over here and then scooch it under. So I got the joint mounted in here under the frame. The mount on the frame's already set and welded in place. That's not going to change from, it's mounting the same spot my radius arm mounted. So I need to adjust these to make these fit. And with the joints and the gap here and everything, I need to cut out 4.5 inches of these, of the lower arms, and then I'll tack them into place, and then I'll figure out what I got to do with the upper, get that one tacked into place, and then I got to build a new track bar as well. I have a new track bar bracket and stuff. Get that tacked into place, and then I'll be able to cycle the suspension, make sure it's all going to work, and weld it all up. And then I got new steering, hydraulic steering coming as well, which should be here tomorrow. So, or the next day. So, and then I'll get that figured out too. Alright, so I've been doing a little work off camera again. So I'm going to show you guys where I'm at and a couple problems I'm running into, and kind of my ideas on how I'm going to fix them. So, then, as you can see, I got the brackets tacked into place. It's all bolted in, the upper is tacked into place. I'm actually going to move that up a hole because I got room, and just add a little bit more link separation. So, but the problems I'm running into, so as you can see, my track bar, I built a longer one to help. Before it was pretty short, and the longer you make your track bar, the less it's going to affect it when it goes up and down in its travel, and also the flatter you make it. So I'm trying to kind of go best place I can, but it's hitting my harmonic balancer, pulley, whatever you call it. So I'm going to try just to put a bend in it right there to help clear that. So hopefully that works for that. And then over here, my tie rod is hitting the frame rail. So, and then if I go down here, it binds the heim joints out, and I can't go on the bottom of the pitman arm because then it hits the drag link. So I'm gonna go on top like this. This is how I had it before, but the reason I didn't have this problem is because it never flexed this much with the radius arms, and it never steered this much because I had a 6-inch ram where I need an 8-inch ram. So I kind of got away with a couple things because it didn't have very much flex and it didn't have very much steering. But now I'm getting all 8 inches of steering and all, I believe these are 10. I'm getting all 10 inches of flex out of these. So I'm gonna have to notch the frame here. That's not a big deal. That'll clear this. And I'm gonna try to put a bend in my I'm gonna try to put a bend into my this one. I forget what you call it now. I just said it. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to put a bend in that. I'm gonna notch the frame. And yeah, but I've checked everything. Coilovers don't bind here. The links, nothing binds, everything clears there. So I'm just having a couple of problems with my steering. So I'm gonna get that stuff figured out, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so I got the frame notched out right there, and I got it all welded up. I cycled the suspension and turned it lock to lock, and it does clear now. So, and then I got kind of carried away and started welding everything up. So it's all welded up and clears. I've gone full bump on both sides and fully flexed it out. So I'm gonna throw the rotors and brakes back on so I can throw some tires on here, and then I'm gonna flex it out with some tires on here, and or I'll probably just go ahead and throw the springs in too, and then set it down on its own weight and see the final product. The only place that I couldn't get to weld was where the upper link ties into the frame rail. I couldn't get to the top, so I'm probably going to end up having to cut a hole in the floor and get that welded up and then weld the floor back in. So, but it's plenty strong to set it on its own weight, so I'm going to get brakes back on, coils in, and yeah, it's coming together. As you can see, I cut a hole into the floor, so that's the top of the upper control arm or upper link mount right there. So now I can weld the top of it, and then I'll just fold this back down and weld it up, so I can get that welded. Alright, so now that I got it to a point where it's sitting on its own weight, everything's welded up enough to test it out. I've flexed it all the way out without springs in it. But now I'm curious. I did this over at Robbie's shop and measured how much flex it had. So I'm going to get the cherry picker out and pick up this tire and measure it again and see how much flex we gained. So I wasn't able to max it out. My cherry picker maxed out right there, which is probably fine because I mean it's getting a little sketchy. It's three-wheeling a little bit, and it's you don't want to be standing really next to this thing right now. When I looked back at my pictures, it had 43 inches before the 3-link. Now it's got 47 and a half, and it can still go more. So we'll call it 48 inches, which is 4 feet. And that's to the bottom of the tire right here. It's not measuring out here. That's to the corner of the tire, 48 inches of flex. And it's not quite maxed out. But it's really hard to show you guys on camera how tall that is, but I'm standing straight up right now, and there's the tire. So I think I'm 5'11" ish, somewhere around there, 5'10", 5'11". So it's pretty crazy. See everything down there? It's a good time to show you. I'm not going to go under there, but that bracket right there, that's the one where I couldn't get the top welded on it. So there it is. I mean, I am super happy with how it turned out. So now I'm just waiting on my new hydraulic steering ram, which should be here tomorrow. Get that stuff thrown in and take this thing for a spin. I am so excited to see how this thing performs. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. So I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this content. This is the kind of stuff I love doing. Just improving it and then go wheeling it and then bring it back and improve it more. And it's never ending, but it's also never ending fun. So yeah, stay tuned for the next one.